Good evening, everyone, and a warm welcome to our weekly discussion show, Big Questions. Tonight we're asking a very important question, one that we all think about in school and in life. The question is simple: is learning history important? To help us explore this topic, we have two wonderful guests with us today. First, please welcome Leo. Leo's a history teacher at a local high school, and he's very passionate about the past. And joining him is Chloe. Chloe's a bright young student who's thinking a lot about the future and what skills are needed for it. They have very different views on our topic. Leo believes that understanding history is essential for everyone. Chloe, on the other hand, feels that our time is better spent on subjects that prepare us for the future, like science and technology. It's going to be a fascinating conversation. We'll start with opening statements from both our guests. Leo, would you like to begin?
Thank you, Maria. It's a pleasure to be here. For me, the answer to your question is a strong yes. Learning history is incredibly important. History isn't just a collection of old stories, dates, and names of kings who lived long ago. It's the story of us. It's the story of our families, our communities, and our world. To understand the world we live in today, we absolutely must look at what happened in the past. The present didn't just appear from nowhere. It was built on the events of yesterday. Think about the city we live in. Why are the streets named what they are? Why is the main park located where it is? History holds the answers. It tells us that a big factory was once here, or that an important event happened on that corner. This knowledge connects us to our home. It gives us a sense of belonging and identity. It tells us we're part of a long, continuing story. Another key reason is that history is our greatest teacher. We learn about terrible wars, about times of great suffering, and about big mistakes that leaders and nations made. By studying these events, we can understand why they happened. What were the warning signs? What were the bad decisions? This knowledge is a powerful tool. It helps us to be careful and to work hard to avoid making those same mistakes again. It guides us in building a more peaceful and just world for our children. Finally, history teaches us about people. When we study the past, we study different cultures, different ideas, and different ways of living. We learn that people in other parts of the world have different traditions and think in different ways. History explains why. It shows us their journey. This helps us to be more open, more understanding, and more respectful of others. It breaks down fear and prejudice. It makes us better global citizens in a connected world. So history isn't about being stuck in the past. It's about using the past to build a better future. It's essential.
Thank you, Leo. Chloe, it's now your turn to share your opening statement.
Thank you, Maria, and thank you, Leo, for your thoughts. I understand your passion, but I have a different perspective. I believe that while history can be interesting, it's not as important as subjects that directly prepare us for the future. In my experience, history class is often about memorizing facts. I have to remember dates of battles, names of generals, and lists of kings. It feels like a very passive activity. I spend hours learning these things, but I have to ask, how does this help me in the real world? How will knowing about the Roman Empire help me get a good job and build a career? I think subjects like science, technology, engineering, and math, what we call STEM subjects, are far more valuable today. The world is changing faster than ever before. We have incredible new technologies, like artificial intelligence, that are changing every industry. We need people who can work with these technologies. If you want to be a doctor and save lives, you need biology and chemistry. If you want to design sustainable energy solutions, you need physics and engineering. If you want to create the next popular app, you need computer programming. These subjects give us practical, hands-on skills. They teach us how to build, create, and solve problems. They're the keys to the jobs of the future. Furthermore, the problems our world faces today are new and unique. We're dealing with global climate change, cybersecurity threats, and misinformation spreading on the internet. These are 21st century problems. Looking back at how people lived 200 or 500 years ago cannot give us the specific solutions we need now. Their world was much simpler. We need to encourage students to be innovators, to think of new ideas, and to create new solutions. We should focus our limited time in school on learning for tomorrow's world, not just memorizing the stories of yesterday's.
Thank you both for those clear opening statements. You've given us two very different ways to see this. Chloe, you said history is about memorizing facts. Leo argued it teaches us to learn from mistakes. Let's start there. Chloe, do you truly believe that past mistakes have no lessons for us today?
It's not that they have zero lessons. The lesson war is bad is clear. But it's a very general lesson. I don't need to study history for 12 years to understand that. My point is that the context is completely different now. A leader's mistake in the past might have caused a local problem. A leader's mistake with today's technology, like a cyber attack or an AI system, could cause a global crisis in minutes. The past doesn't prepare you for the speed and scale of today's world.
So the scale of our problems is different. Leo, how would you respond to that? Is history too slow or small scale for the problems Chloe describes?
That's a very good point, Chloe. The tools and the speed of our world have changed, but the reasons people make decisions, both good and bad, haven't changed as much. History is full of stories about how fear of new technology or greed for new resources or the spread of false information led to disaster. The technology was different. Maybe it was the printing press instead of the internet. But the human behavior is a pattern we can recognize. Studying this helps us develop a sense of caution and wisdom. It trains us to ask critical questions about new things, whether it's a new political idea or a new technology. This is a timeless skill.
Let's move to the topic of careers. Chloe, you strongly believe that STEM subjects are the path to a good job. Leo, you mentioned soft skills from history. Are these skills really as valuable in the job market as, say, knowing how to code?
I believe they are, and I believe they're becoming more valuable. A computer can be taught to code, but it cannot be taught to understand human motivation, to communicate with a team, or to make an ethical decision. History is a training ground for these human skills. When you analyze a historical event, you have to look at different sources, decide which ones are reliable, and build a logical argument. This is critical thinking. You learn to put yourself in someone else's shoes, to understand their perspective. This is empathy. A good doctor, a good manager, a good scientist. They all need empathy and critical thinking. These skills make you a better employee and a better leader, no matter the field.
Chloe, what's your reaction? Can you get these soft skills from other subjects just as well?
Yes, I think so. When I'm in my science lab, I work with a team. We have to communicate and solve problems together. That teaches teamwork. When I write a report on our experiment, I have to be clear and logical. That teaches writing skills. I don't think history is the only place to learn these things. And I think it's more efficient to learn these skills in a context that is also teaching me a practical, modern skill. It's like learning two things at once. I can learn critical thinking while developing a new app, which feels more relevant to my future.
That's a strong point about efficiency. Let's touch on one more area, understanding cultures. Chloe, you mentioned the internet and travel as better, more modern ways to learn about other people. Leo, can history books, which are sometimes written with a single country's perspective, really compete with that direct experience?
That's a very important question about perspective. It's true that some older history books can be biased. A big part of studying history today is learning to recognize that bias. We now study history by looking at sources from many different countries and perspectives. We try to build a more complete and honest picture of the past. This itself is a critical skill for living in the modern world, where we see biased information everywhere online.
But isn't it better to just talk to the person? If I want to know about modern Japan, I don't want to read a book from America about Japan's history. I want to talk to a young person from Tokyo. Their experience is more real and more current.
Their experience is absolutely real and valuable, I agree. but their experience is shaped by their country's history. If you talk to them, and you also understand their history, your conversation will be much deeper. You'll understand the meaning behind their traditions, their holidays, their social rules. It's the difference between seeing a beautiful building and understanding how and why it was built. One is nice, but the other is true understanding.
This has been a very rich and thoughtful discussion. We're running out of time, so I'd like to ask you both for your closing statements. Please summarize your main point for our audience. Chloe, let's begin with you.
Thank you. I want to be clear. I'm not saying history is useless. I'm saying it's not the most important subject for the world we live in now. Our education should be like a toolbox we carry into the future. We need to fill that toolbox with the best tools for the job. In the 21st century, those tools are science, technology, problem-solving, and digital skills. These are the things that will help us cure diseases, protect our planet, and create a better global economy. History can be a wonderful book to read on the side, a source of interesting stories, but it shouldn't take the place of these essential, future-focused subjects in our schools. We have to prepare for what's coming. We must look forward, not primarily backward. Thank you.
Thank you, Chloe, for that powerful summary. And now, Leo, your final thoughts on why history is so important.
Thank you. Chloe speaks about the future, and I agree that the future is important. But we cannot walk into the future blindfolded. The past is the light that helps us see the path ahead. History isn't a simple book of stories. It's the collective memory of humanity. It holds all of our wisdom, our art, our biggest mistakes, and our greatest triumphs. To ignore it is to ignore who we are. It teaches us the skills that are at the heart of being human, to think critically, to feel empathy for others, and to understand complex change over time. These are not soft skills. They are essential life skills. They are what we need to be wise citizens, caring neighbors, and good people. To build a truly great future, we must stand on the foundation of the past. Thank you.
Thank you, Leo, and thank you, Chloe. You have both argued your points with passion and intelligence, and we're very grateful. So what have we learned? We've heard that history can be seen as an essential guide, a teacher of wisdom and empathy that connects us to our shared humanity. We've also heard that in a rapidly changing world, our focus should be on practical, future-oriented skills that can solve the new and complex problems that we face. As always, there's no single easy answer. The real value is in thinking about the question itself. We encourage all of you watching at home to continue this conversation with your friends and family. What does history mean to you? That's all the time we have for Big Questions this week. Thank you for joining us. Good evening.